artist, today you are going to start sketching your person onto your paper. So this paper here is going to be your sloppy copy. Okay, and I'm writing it on there to remind myself that I'm not expecting perfection out of this first paper. This is where you're gonna work out all of your mess ups, you're gonna erase a lot, you're gonna move things around, put things in the wrong place, and eventually we're gonna get everything as good as we can. So if you want to also write sloppy copy on your paper, and then also write your name, okay? When we clean up, we are gonna take these and slide them back into our folders. I don't want you to fold these up, okay? We don't wanna ever crease our artwork. So just in case it ever slides out, I can easily return it to the correct artist. Okay, so now we're gonna think about everything that we learned the other day and we practiced with our gesture drawings. So you remember our 3 people, our 2-minute, our 3-minute, our 5-minute? We're gonna take all of those concepts and start our drawing here. Okay, and it'll eventually get all of the details that we need in it. So if we remember correctly, the first thing that we look for is that essential line, okay, that goes from the top to the bottom, okay, or simply put, the spine. Okay, does your spine curve? And for this part, I want you to actually take your finger and put it on your printout, okay? Or if you're drawing from a photo on your computer screen, actually touch the computer screen. Okay, so I can see that her back angles back and down because she's pulling her shoulders back. So when I start that, I'm going to gently sketch that shape onto my paper. Okay, so where I have a little bit of a curve back and down. And now remember, we are creating dynamic lines. Dynamic lines mean they're loose, they're quick, they're sketchy. It's not a solid, static, hard line. Okay, so keep it loose, keep it sketchy. So that's that part. Now the next line we're gonna look for are the shoulders and the waist. Okay, so the waist is where the belly button is. It's where pants, like a normal pair of pants would kind of hit. So let's look at the shoulders. Now my person here, the dancer in the front, her back shoulder, I don't even see the shoulder because it's turned to away from me and it's right behind her head. So I'm not even gonna draw a shoulder onto that side, okay? Now this front shoulder drops a little bit here, okay? But the way that she's turned, I don't have much of a line coming out straight. Now if your person is straight on looking at you, then you're gonna have longer lines to the left and the right. But this is where you take those skills that we practiced and you modify them to meet the needs of your drawing. Now her waist is here, okay? Her waist is where her pants and her jacket are, where her hand is hitting. So I'm gonna draw a line there. And then I'm gonna sketch on her head. Again, I don't really see her neck because of the way she's posed, so I'm not gonna draw a neck there. Again, I'm not concerned with getting her exact head shape just yet. I wanna get just the approximate size. Okay, am I making that hat too big? Okay. So I have her head, and I have her hat. Okay, not drawing all the details in the hat, just kind of getting that. So I'm gonna use my guesstimator here. I'm gonna say her head's that big. I can fit 1.5 heads into her torso. Based on my picture, 1.5 heads. So far, I'm in pretty good proportion with this one. Okay, so now I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna look at her legs and her hips. So off of her waist, we have the hips. Okay, so the hips, remember when we drew them with our shapes, our hips looked like a little skirt or a little trapezoid, okay? We want to create something like that on our person. So if your person was wearing pants, this is where the button and the zipper would be, this is where the pockets would be. We don't want to make the legs coming right out of the belly button, okay, because that's cutting off a whole section of your body. So I'm gonna create a space here for her hips. Okay, it's not looking like a person just yet, but I'm not worried because I know that I'm just following through and I'm gonna get where I need to go. Okay, so if your person is facing you and you see both legs equally, then you're gonna draw it just like we practiced the other day. But if your person is turned away from you and you see one leg all the way and then you see the second leg tucked behind, just like we did in that last drawing the other day, then you're going to first draw that main leg. So this is where my hip is going to be right there. And now, see what I'm doing? I'm tracing that angle. Okay, so no matter how big or small you draw something, the angles aren't going to change. So sometimes I just gently rub my pencil over and I call that feeling the angle. And then once I have that angle, I can say, okay. Now my knee is going to extend out past my chest here. So that, I'm going to put that there. And if that's that length, then this one's going to be about that much. So the bottom of her foot's going to hit here. This is going to come back. And then her foot is going to kind of make this weird shape in that area. And I'll fix that up later, but I'm just kind of getting a little placeholder. Okay, now if I go leg, waist, hold on, waist, hips, top of the head to the hips. And that goes down to where the heel is. Okay, just figuring this out here. So in the bottom of her foot, I actually need to and then this leg, let's flesh out the first one here. And again, as you go, don't get too committed to any particular line because you're going to be changing it as you go. Okay, and seeing how things work better. So this foot has to come back a little bit. Okay. And then this one's going to tuck down. And this front knee is higher, so if that knee's there, this one's going to be a little bit lower. There we go. And then I can go in and I can start to build out her torso. It's going to angle there, come back. She's a little arch to her back. And bring that in. Okay, now when I draw her hands, I'm going to place the end of the hand first. Okay. Her hand's going to wrap around like that. Her thumb's going to come out. It's going to hit about at her waist. And then her arm's gonna angle, not straight, but a slight angle. This one's gonna angle down into her elbow. I'm gonna notice that the space that's made here is very small, so I'm not gonna make it that large. I'm gonna make a nice small space in there. Okay. So that I can start shaping out that arm. And I'm gonna just keep adjusting as I go, okay? I'm not gonna get too stuck on any particular marks that I'm making. Okay. I'm not drawing her face in there yet because I'm not sure about the position. Now this arm's gonna go straight up. That arm's about the same length as the thigh, so my hand's gonna end up here. Right. Her elbow is just above her hat, and then the rest of it's gonna just kind of tuck down behind her face, which means that her face has to slide over. So that's why I'm glad I didn't draw any of those details on there, because I would have ended up erasing them and moving them. And that's gonna come up from behind her head. So then you can see I'm getting the basic shape of her, and then as I'm checking where things are and how they look, then I can go in and add more details. So as you keep going, you can start to draw in those details as you see them, okay? The details in the clothing, things like that, as you start to like the way everything's interacting together. And again, remember that this is your sloppy copy. You will have lots and lots of eraser marks on it, okay? So don't get, upset if you have to move something. Look at how many times I erased these lines just to find lines that go in those places. And you can start to darken up your good lines when you come across them. I haven't even drawn in my face yet. I'm not worried about that. I haven't drawn all these tiny little details and everything just yet. So work big to little, okay? And try your best and try not to get frustrated with it. You're gonna do a great job, I know it, okay?